Here's to good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends who give you this song.
Well, hello good friends, and welcome back to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. And we're going back in time again to the fun times. It's storytelling time, the days of your lives. So, get up off that easy chair, walk over to your fridge, reach in way in the back and find a nice, refreshing Orange Julius. I know you got to buy them at the store, or maybe you brought one home the last time you went to the movies. Take it, pour it into a nice tall cup, reach up into your candy cupboard, get an O. Henry bar, sit down, unwrap it, sit back in your chair, turn on your lava lamp, close your eyes, get ready, because The Last Walk is back.
Oh, I've been so lucky and I've been so blessed. In spite of my failings, I've found success. For I've known love and I've known good times, and I have known friendship and written some rhymes.
Remember when you were a kid, you would all gather in the car, run in the car, and go shopping. Wasn't that a fun thing to do with Mom and Dad? They would all say, "Let's go, kiddies, we're going out." "Where are we going, Mom and Dad?" "We're going shopping." What in the world was shopping? It could have been going to a mall, but we didn't have malls back then. We had these open areas of strip malls, I guess they call them nowadays. So we would go in the car. I always get the hump, because I was the third son. And off we go to the land of shopping. Now, one of my memories was, I guess, paying my parents back without realizing it. We would go into a store, maybe a Gertz or a Mays, a Macy's, a Lane's, S. Klein on the square, one of those things. And I had some weird thing where I thought it'd be fun to get lost in the store. My parents did not think it was too much fun. But I would hide in between the racks of the clothing. My mom be in the dress area, my dad, whatever made me, in the pants area. Usually Dad could care less, my mom was more doing the shopping. And I would go in and I would hide between the racks of clothes until I heard them all calling, "Ronald, Ronald, Ronald." And finally I would come out and just look at them and smile, and they would get mad at me. I would get lectured, or I would get that look, the look that all moms have, that no one else had, just a mother. The look that meant, "Oh, geez, I'm in trouble now." What's your memories of shopping with Mom and Dad? What are the things that got you in trouble? Once I was in the A&P with Dad. Dad always went on Friday afternoon. After he came home from work, he went out to the family food shopping. And one of us would be volunteered. We'd raise our hands, yeah, sure, and we would go food shopping with Dad to the A&P. For some reason, I thought it was always me, but I'm sure Jerry and Dick felt it was them. And I don't know if Debbie ever did it. Maybe you did, Deb, but I know I did it an awful lot. When I was young, a couple of things strike me as kind of odd. One day I'm in the food store with Dad at the A&P, and I went on a different aisle than Dad did. And I turned and I yelled, "Dad, Dad, Dad." With that, about 10 men all turned their heads. And I'm saying, these aren't my dads. Then I realized that everybody calls their dad Dad. That they all have the same name. I thought just my dad was Dad. I didn't know everyone else's dad was Dad. I thought that was my own name for my father, and Mom was my name for Mom. I must have been like 5 years old. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, what's going on in this world here? Everyone has got the same name. So maybe that's why Dad wasn't that upset when I took the wagon from him one day when I was much younger. And he was on one aisle and I was talking to him or saying something or singing a song or doing some weird thing I did back then. And I wasn't paying attention, and I pushed the cart into a big pile. It became a pile. I pushed the cart into a big display of cans, some kind of food cans like pork and beans or tomato sauce, tomato juice, whatever it may have been back then. But all I remember was that I'm looking the other way, and the cart should have had eyes on it. I blamed the cart. and the cart went right into this big display of food cans. Next thing I know, all the cans came falling on the floor. I looked like a complete buffoon, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be in trouble now. The good thing was I have no memory of getting in trouble. I have no memory of cleaning it up. My only memory was going in and seeing that wagon when I couldn't stop it any longer, crashing into that display of cans. Luckily, the bad parts have gone away.
Here's to good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends who give you this song.
I remember once going into Mays department store on Union Turnpike in Queens, in Glen Oaks, I believe it was. And I remember seeing something I never saw before. I saw Yankee jackets and Yankee hats. This is before the Mets were born. This is back in the late 50s. And no one really wore Yankee garb back then, or Brooklyn Dodgers stuff, or Giants stuff. It was very, very rare. In fact, the kids who did wear that normally had a bit of cash, because they couldn't really afford to get those in our day. Only a few kids had a Yankee jacket or a Yankee hat. Our Little League teams were named for local stores, and they didn't wear the names and the hats of the local franchise teams, the Yankees, Dodgers, and Giants. So I was really taken back, and I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was in some incredible heavenly universe, seeing all this Yankee garb all around me. It was unreal. I went shopping with my brother Jerry one night. We went to Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City, or Mineola, Long Island, New York. The two of us were about 19 and 16 years old, I would think. I was too young to drive, and Jerry had the car that night to go shopping with me to buy something, probably Christmas shopping. My only memory of this was as we drove into Roosevelt Field, we parked the car really far away. This is before they had those big multi-level parking lots, parking garages. This is when they had a big open field where Lindbergh once took off from. Anyway, so we parked the car far away near the Ben Franklin Bank where the jewelry exchange was. And as we're walking over these many roads, as the roads traverse through the Roosevelt Field, before you go to J.C. Penney's, or I think it was Macy's, or whatever, Macy's at the other end. It was J.C. Penney's in the front. As we're walking through the roads, suddenly a car came zipping around the corner. And the car was heading right to me, but I didn't see it, but Jerry did. Next thing I know, I feel myself being pushed in the air. My brother Jerry saw the car and just shoved me out of the space of the car forward, and I went flying over into the regular parking lot, out of the road, and Jerry luckily jumped out of the way. So basically, my brother Jerry saved my life. He may not remember this, but I certainly do. So we didn't go shopping that moment. We went up, picked up, and I scraped off my knees, and I was very thankful of the fact that I could get up again. Thanks, Jerry. You made my day.
Life is too short, we get only one turn. With luck we find beauty, but we sometimes get burned. But if you've had a true friend, or perhaps love, you've experienced the peace of heaven above.
Now, one of my worst moments of shopping was years later with my family, and we had 4 kids, and our youngest, Caitlin, was about 3 years old, I would think. And we were in a store called FAO Schwarz, a very, very famous toy store back in the day, which sadly recently closed down, I believe. It was in the GM building on 5th Avenue and I think 59th Street in Manhattan. A beautiful display, beautiful store. Toy Story had not Toy Story, the show movie Big, I believe, with Tom Hanks. They had a scene there with the big piano. It was an incredible place to go, and families would go there around Christmas time just to walk around the store during the summertime, just to bring the kids in. So we did. We brought our 4 kids in, and I was holding Caitlin's hand, and that was my job, to hold Caitlin's hand. Well, sadly to say, somehow her hand and my hand got separated, and I wasn't holding her hand any longer. And I had thought perhaps my wife was holding her hand, but foolish me didn't check to see if she was. So I'm walking along with the family. My wife's with us and my kids. Suddenly, my wife looks up and sees a woman holding our daughter Caitlin's hand, and she's walking away with her. My wife looks at me, we look together, she reaches over, grabs Caitlin from the woman, and besides the fact that we were obviously glad that we got her back, the woman went off. We never know who she was, what she did, but we were just so thankful we got Caitlin back. But I was a buffoon, the fact that somehow the clasp in my hand of having Caitlin let go of her, and I didn't realize it. So I had paid for that one that day, and probably for many, many days later. A really, really dumb mistake, one I'll never forget. Hold on to your kids' hands. Now, I need a thing in my phone called Find Your Friends. I put it in my phone and my wife's phone because years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, at a track race where my kids were running, I lost my phone. It's a long story. I'll go into that later on in another show. But I lost my phone. So I heard about this app called Find My Friends, so I use it. But the best thing is Find My Wife while shopping. My wife, I love her dearly, my bride, has a unique skill. We could be shopping in Kohl's or whatever store she decides to go to. And we go shopping, and we'll walk down the aisle together, and I have a crazy thing where my attention span is so small. If I see a point-of-sale item, I just turn and look at it. I drive her crazy. So whenever I'm walking in the store with her, if I see something, I'll turn and look at it, read the instructions, read what the gizmo is, whatever it may be. But conversely, she does something differently. As I do my turn and I see her right next to me, she's right next to me as I'm doing looking at my little thing on the end of the shelf at the end of the aisle. I turn for her and she's gone. I cannot find her again. She's somewhere in that store. I don't know where in the world she is. So many times I'll simply resort to Find My Friend. And I'll track her phone, knowing it's in her pocketbook, and we'll find out where she is, and I'll zero in, and it gets closer, and I find her in the aisle. Then I'll turn my head again, and the whole thing happens over again. So one day, my bride and I go shopping. Now realize it's winter time, not summertime, but she sees a pair of summer shorts. It's a size smaller than I normally wear. But I was asked to try them on anyway, cause they'll, quote, probably fit me. Yeah, sure. Now, mind you, we're planning to go to an all-inclusive resort where I thought the goal was to eat, not get in shape. So off to the changing room I dutifully do go. All the doors are closed, except for the handicapped one at the far end in the corner. Now, I figured I'd be quick, and I'll be out in a jiffy. So my lovely better half can soon gasp at me quite lovingly at these new shorts. I attempt to lock the door, but the latch was broken. Not a problem, I thought. I'll be quick. And suddenly, as I'm in the midst of, you know what I mean, trying to get myself going there in the organization of taking clothes off and putting clothes on, I hear a woman's voice calling, "Nicholas! Nicholas! Nicholas!" Gulp. He was getting closer. And just as I'm doing my best imitation of the changing room hokey pokey, she stands in front of my door yelling, "Nicholas!" and throws a pair of pants over the top of my door. I quickly place a knee against a loosely glassed door. "Nicholas, answer me," she says. "I found these pants. Try them on." I quietly said, "I'm not Nicholas." I heard a gasp and heard her say as she ran out the hallway, "Nicholas, where are you? Why don't you answer me?" Suddenly, a shy voice came from one of the stalls far down the hall. "Mom, please." Now, when the coast was clear,